Goal.
That was a pretty good-looking power play that forced him to make that save. They take the timeout, and so the same group can stay on. Taves won the draw, and the puck is cleared by Bouwmeester. Under a minute to go in the third period of Game 2 of the World Cup Final, 1-1 tie. Europe's power play moves in. Turned back for a moment. Here's Jonathan Taves with Bouwmeester. 2-on-2 shorthanded. Taves drives the defense back, passes off. He shoots, he scores! Brad Marchand! Brad Marchand off the bench into the play from Jonathan Taves.
And it's Jonathan Taves who just buys some time. He knows that he's got a forward here in Bodker, just buys his time, opens up the middle, and a perfect shot. Coming off the bench, skating right into it, reached back for it, and the slingshot of emotion there by Brad Marchand. Nobody feels better than Drew Doughty, who took the penalty. The first shorthanded goal for Team Canada in this tournament is potentially a cup-winning one.
.1916 of the third period, a shorthanded goal.
And I said the patience of Taves and just weaving his way through. He could hear Marchand calling as he joined the rush. And the Canadian bench just comes alive with emotion.
Europe is still on the power play. And they're bringing the goaltender to the bench with 30 seconds to go. Here's a shot for the open net. And Vlasic just missed, and he had the free shot at it. So Team Europe has to regroup again. Here comes Andrzej Kopitar leading the power play in. A desperate Team Europe after the puck. Zuccarello out in front. That didn't get through on the shot by Tatar. Thrown down the ice at the open net. It'll miss again, but that might be it. Under 10 seconds to go. Against odds tonight, Team Canada will win the World Cup.
Offside is going to be the call here, so we'll have 2.9 seconds, even though the bench is regaling the fact that Brad Marchand, what a tournament he has had. Big goals at big moments, and none bigger than that in his career.
.1707, the time of the tying goal, a tip in by Bergeron of the Bruins. Brad Marchand, his fifth goal of the tournament, shorthanded at 1916. They'll win the draw, and it's over. 16 straight wins for this group. Canada wins the World Cup. And I guess we know the answer to the question, who owns this game? They almost played the perfect game. Almost. But Canada came back and snatched victory from the hands of defeat with a power play goal and a shorthanded goal in the last 3 minutes of the night to win the World Cup.
The emotion on the face of the Europeans, a tough pill to swallow. I thought start to finish they were the better team, save for those last 3 minutes by the Canadians.
They had some trouble tonight, but cast your eyes on Team Canada. And you know you've been watching one of the best teams that's ever played this game. And as a group, they've won 16 in a row.
And how about Carey Price, that big save? He had many of them throughout this tournament, but when the game was on the line and the pressure came from Team Europe, it was Price with the game-saving save that allows us to go to the handshakes.
Sidney Crosby with a spectacular tournament, along with his line mates Marchand and Bergeron. There they were again with the game on the line. It's that group that showed up. Bergeron, Crosby got points on the first goal, Marchand on the second, and that line had 25 points in 6 games in the tournament.
That continuity, start to finish, is really quite incredible, and penchant for scoring big goals at important times, and there's a big hug from former teammates. Bergeron, Marchand with Seidenberg as well, and now here comes Big Z.
Patrice Bergeron, so accomplished as a player. He played in the World Championships before he played in the World Junior Championships.
So it took a while for the extra players to come out. Braden Holtby just got out there. Claude Giroux got out there. I don't think they were sure that this one was going to end that quickly. Imagine that, the Vezina Trophy winner never got to play in a game.
No kidding, with scratches, the highest scorer in the NHL in the last 5 seasons, Claude Giroux. Stanley Cup winning defenseman, Jake Muzzin. And a guy who tied a record for wins in a season at 48 in goal, Braden Holtby. And they couldn't make the lineup. Great tournament for Jarro Halak. Slovak goaltender who now returns to the New York Islanders, just about pulled off the huge upset. Carey Price in a Team Canada uniform has now won 16 games in a row dating back to 2007. What a finish. Here's Scott Oake down on the ice.
Jim, thanks very much. With the hero of the game, Brad Marchand. Brad Marchand, hero. You rescued Team Canada tonight. What's that mean to you?
You know, it was incredible last few minutes. The boys battled so hard. And, you know, the PP did a great job to get us going, but just trying to take this all in. It's such an unbelievable feeling. You know, we worked so hard, and, you know, it's just, you can't explain what we're feeling right now.
Well, let's address what happened before the 2 goals late in the game. What were you thinking for the better part of the game as they were beating you with speed and pressure?
Yeah, you know, they played unbelievable tonight. They were all over us, and, you know, we got lucky there. We got a great job at that PP, but other than that, we didn't have a whole lot. And, you know, so it was great to see the resiliency of the guys and how hard they battled.
Brad, you had a World Cup leading 5 goals in this tournament. You were magnificent on the line with Crosby and Bergeron. What do you think the World Cup's done for your career?
I don't know. You know, it's tough to think about being on a stage like this and being put in a position to play with Bergie and Sid. It's unbelievable. I think, you know, it just gives me a little more exposure, but you know, it gives everyone that, and you know, it's just been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed every second of it.
Congratulations. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jim.
Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia. Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins goes home to Boston with a big new contract and great memories of a championship at the World Cup of Hockey. And boy, did he fit right in from day one.
Much deserved. I thought he showed great speed, great consistency, and the big goal against Russia to get things going, and here in the final game to clinch it, a fitting ending for a breakthrough performance.
Drew Doughty, Rob Blake, there's 2 great defensemen, and there's the likely MVP of the tournament right there.
Fans, please direct your attention to the ice for the presentation of the Most Valuable Player Award, as selected by select members of the PHWA and World Cup of Hockey broadcasters. Presenting the award is Bill Daly, Deputy Commissioner of the NHL, and Matthew Schneider, Special Assistant to the NHLPA's Executive Director. The winner of the World Cup of Hockey 2016 MVP Award is Sidney Crosby.
And what a tournament he had. What a year he's had. MVP of the playoffs, Stanley Cup, World Cup, and MVP. There's a calmness and a surety about his game now. After he hit a bit of a roadblock for a while last season, right back on top of the world.
As complete a player as there is in the National Hockey League, and he led, and this team definitely followed.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to present the World Cup of Hockey 2016 Championship Trophy to Team Canada. Accepting the trophy is Team Captain Sidney Crosby.
And his teammates aren't far away. A little different from the Stanley Cup. They're not all going to take a chance and skate around with it, I don't think. But Joe Thornton, at 37 years old, has almost assuredly played his last big championship game with Team Canada.
And without question, a popular choice among teammates, too. Had a great moment for him. Steven Stamkos in front of his family and friends.
And it looks like they're all going to take a turn. I wasn't sure how they'd handle this.
Yeah.
Marc-Edouard Vlasic. There's supposed to be a photo next, and maybe that's what they'll do.
Mike Babcock coaching once again, making sure everybody gets down. Brad Marchand, you don't hear that very often in this building, do you, when he's playing for the Boston Bruins.
Corey Perry got it all started in 2005 when he won the Memorial Cup with London, and he just keeps on winning. He's got a Stanley Cup, World Championships, gold medals from the Olympics, and now a World Cup. All of these players are so decorated, and I've been on one of the finest teams that's ever played the game. They dominated for the most part in Sochi and now here, and when they did have a little bit of a tough time, they were able to gather themselves and come back.
And how about the play of Jonathan Toews? So often the shutdown guy on this team, and almost fittingly for that two-way player, he's the one who makes the play shorthanded to give them the win.
London, Ontario's Drew Doughty gets a turn with the World Cup. Ryan O'Reilly, he'll probably be back. He's the youngest member of Team Canada at 25 years of age.
What a job coming in at the last minute and fitting right in, playing whatever role. Game time goal for Bergeron. So many big moments for him in international hockey. And once again, proving such a complete player.
Matt Duchene, Haliburton, Ontario, with a lift of the World Cup. John Tavares finished this tournament. Bittersweet win in Sochi because he couldn't participate after the first game because of a knee injury, and he was very good through this tournament. So was King City, Ontario's Alex Pietrangelo. Shea Weber It's a tower of strength playing against top players through this tournament. He'll be a welcome foundation of the defense in Montreal. In front of Carey Price.
Braden Holtby. You can get a real sense, although these players compete against each other all year, what this means to come together and win it together. And Logan Couture, another one that teammates very happy for, winning his first big international championship.
The unmistakable Brent Burns. Jake Muzzin got into one game. Los Angeles King defenseman from Woodstock, Ontario. And there's the other healthy scratch. Claude Giroux from Hearst, Ontario. Philadelphia Flyers center. Played in one tournament game as well. And the two-time Cup winner Corey Crawford, who played Game 3 in the tournament in place of Carey Price. And the most decorated coach in hockey, Mike Babcock, and the general manager, Doug Armstrong.
We now ask team captain Sidney Crosby and alternate captains Jonathan Taves and Shea Weber to join their teammates along with members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police for the raising of the flag of Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Remove your hats for the playing of O Canada.
Well, that's becoming a regular occurrence for this group, isn't it? First, it seemed destined for Game 3. Then we seemed destined for overtime. And now the World Cup is complete in a flash at the end of the third period. Power play goal, shorthanded goal by two members of the Boston Bruins. And Canada has won the World Cup.
Never gets old, does it? The tell by the look on the players' face, the time they've put in, the effort that they had, and the pride that they have in their country.
There's the best hockey team on the planet. And now, after almost a month of training camp, exhibition games, and 6 games in the World Cup, these great players are headed back towards the NHL. They'll have a night of celebration, and then they'll join their club teams just in time for the NHL's regular season to begin on the 12th of October. For 12 of these players from the province of Ontario, this must be a thrill to win on home ice, most assuredly with so many friends and family in the building to watch them. Back down onto the ice, and Scott Oak.
Yes, Jim, with the World Cup MVP, Sidney Crosby. Sidney, high drama here tonight. How unlikely did winning the World Cup tonight seem for the first 57 minutes of that game?
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I mean, they played so well defensively and really clogged up the neutral zone, even the defensive zone. They were blocking a lot of shots, and every mistake we made, they seemed to get an odd-man rush. So tested our patience, but we found a way. I mean, I think we were just trying to get to overtime when you get a penalty that late, and Marshy had a big goal for us.
This is such a powerful team. I think the expectation of many was Canada could win just by showing up, but of course that's not the case. How would you describe overall the effort Canada needed to win this World Cup?
Well, I think, different games, different opponents tested different things. I mean, you look at the game against Russia, we felt really good. Everything was going our way, and somehow found ourselves down in the game and kind of stuck with it. I think in the case of the last 2 games, I mean, they were just so patient, and we just had to make sure that we stuck with things. It was frustrating at times, but I felt like we stuck with it and didn't hang our head and found a way like we did here tonight.
Sidney, what a time in your career. The Stanley Cup in June, now the World Cup, and you have said that winning this, the opportunity to get it, makes you more appreciative every time out. Why?
Well, I mean, the opportunities get less and less as you get older, and you realize, especially with a group like this, doesn't come around all the time. And I've been fortunate enough to play with some of these guys for a long time, going back to World Juniors, and we're not getting any younger, so the opportunities are much less, and we need a group together like this in Canada, a place where it's so fun to play and people are so passionate about it. You just want to make the most of it.
Thanks, Sidney. Congratulations. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Sidney Crosby, the tournament MVP. Now it's time to look back on the play of the game. Brought to you by the new Advil 12-hour. 2 goals, 2 minutes, 9 seconds. World Cup Canada.
Power play. Patrice Bergeron in the high slot, deflection, and the crowd goes wild. Short-handed, Jonathan Toews buys a little time, and his teammate Bergeron, Brad Marchand, with the game-winning goal, short-handed to win it.
And the 3 stars of the final game of the World Cup tournament, brought to you by Molson Canadian. Brad Marchand got the game winner. Carey Price made that possible, and Jarl Halak almost won it for his Team Europe. 3 stars of the final game.
Molson Canadian would like to congratulate Team Canada on winning the World Cup of Hockey 2016. This is our game. This is our beer. Please celebrate responsibly.
Well, we now see who reigns over hockey. Canada with a 2-1 victory over Team Europe and 2 straight wins to win the World Cup of Hockey. Here's Ron and Don.
Two Boston Bruins scored, and as Colby Armand said, something's brewing. Now look, you ever read Tarasov's book? You ever read that book?
Yes, I have.
Well, I haven't, but I've read parts of it, all right?
Anatoly Tarasov.
And he said, Tarasov, he was a great coach for them. He said, we got as much talent, absolutely as much talent as Canada, but the one thing we don't have is we don't have that heart. And he said it. Go back on all the times we won, everything like that. You see, we come through there, and I'm so glad 2 Boston Bruins got the winner and the tire.
And you're kind of right, because here's proof that, well, it's a joke. Canada doesn't throw in the towel. I'm leading to a joke.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Watch this
proof.
here now. Watch Price on the right-hand side. Your joke is he doesn't throw in the towel.
Very
Imagine, anyhow,
First time it came
imagine
back
all
to him.
that's going on. He throws that to a friend. I'll tell you, boy, that's really something.
If he misses training camp because of some little tweak,
Well, then
trying to be a
listen, he
good guy.
can't throw the towel over, but he can stop pucks. Thank goodness.
And Don, here's something you caught with 5 minutes to go. One of the leaders, obviously Sidney Crosby, who's undisputed leader, but the other guy is...
Okay, but listen, he's on the bench. He's very upset. This is what coaches say all the time. When something's bad happens, don't read lips on this one, but this I said all the time. Go ahead.
There it is, Jonathan Toews, and this was, here's examples of what he does to win you hockey games. He went against Chris Pronger in 2010, over and over and over again. He drove the net. Zdeno Chara, Boston Bruins, 2013, that famous finish where you had 2 guys pulling their goaltenders in a crazy finish.
And here he comes
driving
again.
the net. And then here he is again driving the net.
Setting it up.
And he sets up the, well, we're not showing the one he drove to the net tonight,
Beautiful.
but
All
there's-
right. That's the way to do it. He comes through, Stanley Cup winner. I'll tell you, boy, we come through in the clutch. A little shaky there, but we got it. And Marchand, you once got to say, he's got a nose for that net.
He absolutely does. And the other goal we'll show you here in just a second. The one quibble. If you're Team Europe's fans, you wonder about the Kopitar penalties.
Well, wait a minute. What about Doughty?
Right.
Hit the top of his helmet, so
follow through as
even's
Craig
even.
said.
Yeah.
But it did come at a very critical time in the game for them to lose Kopitar on that penalty kill. Still, a great goal. Here it is, the goal by Patrice Bergeron. And there's a guy in front. I think it's Thornton is in front of the goaltender, Halak, who was just fantastic again tonight.
Finally, we got a guy in front. Watch that guy in front. He can't see. Halak, anything that he can see. Look at this.
Yeah.
Can't see. I'll tell you, boy, he's a dynamite goaltender. I'll tell you that. I'm glad Saturday we don't have to go into Saturday with him because he is dynamite.
Carey Price was obviously terrific and gets a start tonight, but this is a play, Don. You always talk about 2-on-1s, and when you get a guy on his off wing, and I thought this was a really important moment in the game. Matt Zuccarello coming in 2-on-1, and Vlasic. This is why Team Canada depends on him over and over again.
Well, he doesn't. He takes a guy. He doesn't let him have a shot. Remember, I showed you earlier. If he goes with the guy over with the guy, it's a breakaway, like a breakaway. Played it smart. He knew a guy was coming. Smart move.
Brian, have you got the shot from Pan Pacific? This is Patrice Bergeron from the 2011 Stanley Cup, the morning of Game 7. And this is, I hate to do this for Vancouver fans because it's a bitter memory about what he did and what Brad Marchand did that night. But that's him overlooking Cole Harbour, ironically. He's partnered here with Sidney Crosby from Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia. Patrice, after all he'd been through in his life with the concussions and whatnot, came through with the game of his life. He had 2 goals in that game. Brad Marchand had 2 goals in that game. And the moral of that story is they may have killed the Canucks that time, but they carried the Canucks here at the World Cup of Hockey in 2016. All right, we'll take a short break. A little shot inside the dressing room. The celebration is on. Thank you, Don. You going to wear that coat first coach's corner?
I'm going to just to remind you how great we are.
You mean Team Canada? Yeah.
We.
All right, that'll be coming up October the 15th. Don in the coach's corner on Hockey Night in Canada. Back with more of our coverage at Air Canada Centre in Toronto in a moment. Back inside Team Canada's dressing room with Nick, Kelly, and Elliot. And Nick, your thoughts?
You don't want to know my first thought? When did goggles come into play in a hockey dressing room now? Kelly, come on. Put the champagne in your eyes and let them burn like they're...
Beer goggles
we always did.
They're not news.
It's all the Blue Jays' fault.
Yes.
You know what? Good on the players, though. You know, so much talk about coming into this tournament, manufactured between the owners and the players, cash grab, yada, yada, yada. You look at the expression of these guys soon as they won this championship and the pride that they had really wasn't much of a difference between the Olympics or World Championships. You put your colors on and you watch that flag raise, it hits them right in the chest. And good on them. That's not constructed happiness. That is pure as it's ever been for these guys. Good on them, and good on for Team Europe, who showed up. Despite the 2 games, they showed up to play, Elliot.
You know, it was interesting hearing Crosby in that interview with Scott talk about the group and how much longer they're going to have together. You look at this group of guys, Crosby, Toews, Weber, Doughty, the ones who've played since 2010. They've now won 16 games in a row since the Americans beat them in the round robin in Vancouver. Vancouver. Crosby himself, if you put the 2015 World Championships in, he's won 25 games in a row playing for Canada. It's an incredible streak. The 2 Olympic gold medals, this one, and they're going to be favorites again if they go in 2018 and 2022.
And they're going to be one of the favorites because their goalie's pretty darn good. So here's a game in which Team Europe really deserved a lot of the credit. And Carey Price, once again, Bergevin told us before the game all his qualities, and he was bang on. He just continued to shut the door when it could have been out of reach. That fantastic save off Vanek late in the second period, that would have put, of course, Team Europe up 2-0, and the way that they were playing, and then with a minute to go on the power play, Roman Josi gets a great chance right in front of her. Hossa, excuse me, and that was it. I mean, Canada finds a way to score shorthanded, and they're World Cup champions again.
I'm going to be amazed to see how these guys go back and play exhibition hockey. I mean, it's they put so much into this. I'm really curious to see how their teams are going to handle it.
You know what, Elliot? I think their respective clubs, it's their decision. You want to get a game in, get a game in. If you don't, we're good to go starting as early as October 12th.
And Elliot, you mentioned Sidney Crosby. He was the youngest guy to score 100 points when he did it at 18 years, 253 days. He was the youngest guy in the NHL to be named to the first All-Star team, youngest captain to win the Stanley Cup. When he was 16 in 2004 at the World Juniors, he became the first youngest to score a goal there. He was the youngest to win the Art Ross, youngest to win the Pearson. In 2006 at the World Championships, the youngest to lead the tournament in scoring. Sid the Kid's going to be 30 next year. But it never grows old. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. We'll take a short break and back to wrap at the World Cup of Hockey at Air Canada Centre, Toronto in a moment. The doubleheader, Austin Matthews, Morgan Riley, the kids were hot. Erik Karlsson, his interview with Daniel Alfredsson. Remember that? Johnny Hockey was sensational. Draisaitl, Sakura here tonight. Of course, Connor McDavid. Weber and Price in Montreal. Patrick Laine, the newest Winnipeg Jet. All this excitement, including that hometown hockey broadcast, Eichel versus McDavid. As David Adams Richards said, we must be greater than what we're famous for, aren't we? We're famous for hockey.